to be here with Les Brown today, and what an honor it is. You are responsible for creating so many multi-millionaire, world-renowned speakers that everybody that's watching this now is in for a real treat. We're going to ask you some questions, some secrets to your success as a speaker, which I'm so excited to do. Are you ready?
I most certainly am, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay, great. So the question number one that I have for you is, what do you consider the most important skill that a speaker needs to have?
I think that a speaker should take the time to get to know who they're going to speak to. I could call this communications intelligence. And never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience needs to hear. By your asking questions, get information about the organization, about the occasion, the theme, and how you can incorporate and custom design your presentation to meet the needs of that event, then I believe that will begin to accelerate your reputation in the industry, and you create a greater value for that customer.
Golden nugget, thank you for that. And as a speaker, how do you prepare yourself?
With the information that I'm able to get from the organization, plus I have a structure that I've created, and let's say, for instance, 3 steps to success. If I was in it, just give me an organization.
Health first.
One of the things is you look at yourself and look at your goals in the area of health. There are 3 steps to becoming successful and achieving high wellness. Is focus. Focus on doing the things that you know, not what you feel. Many times when I was looking at improving my health, I didn't feel like walking. But it's not about what you feel, do what you know. The next thing is believing that it's possible. Having the willingness to focus on doing the things you know you need to do, having faith and believing in yourself and the process that you're implementing to improve your health, and follow through. Faith without works is dead. So through focus, faith, and follow through, you can accomplish your health goals.
Wow, speechless. And to be able to do that, to be able to do what you just did, a speaker, what does a speaker need to do as they continue to develop that skill? Because you have that skill, and as people are developing that.
Well, something as simple as focus, faith, and follow through, they can surround that with quotes, with stories, with examples. And the more you do it, the more confident you will become. So what you're doing is creating a structure, a path that you can begin to speak on every time. You might decide to use passion, and you might include in there perseverance or persistence, and use stories and quotes and examples around the same thing. But here you come with a track to run on where you know where you're going. And any organization, professional, non-paying, or an organization that's generating income through commissions, you can use examples like that to inspire and move that audience.
That's great, absolutely wonderful. So how do you get into speaking?
To me, I think it's interesting that you find something that captures your imagination, something that you're passionate about, and something that you feel confident about, and something that you'd be willing to do it on a volunteer basis. I've been believing for a long time that you love so much, you do something so well, that you love it so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. And so if you volunteer to speak, you'll begin to get better, and you'll build a reputation, and through that reputation you will begin to get requests. That's what I did. I spoke in daycare centers first because I knew those kids didn't know enough to know whether or not I knew what I was talking about.
Okay, great tip right there. So let's talk about prioritizing content. How do you prioritize the content and the order, and so that your delivery is what you want it to be?
If I'm dealing with focus, faith, and follow through, I would use the theme and the goals and objectives of what they want to achieve at the top of the presentation. And then faith, I would use the methods, the how-tos at that portion of the speech. And then follow through, I use that to begin to drive it home, to inspire them. So as you begin to focus on your dreams, as you begin to think about your goals and the things that you want to achieve, I want you to envision those right now. And as you focus on them, I want you to know that it's possible. And the next step is that you've got to believe in yourself. As you work on yourself and work on your dreams, studies have indicated people who believe in themselves have a greater chance of achieving their goals than people who do not. And as you do that, follow through. That persistence, that determination, resolve to yourself, I will persist until I succeed. With that vision and determination and passion driving the presentation, you're going to ignite a standing ovation.
All right, all right. So let's talk about getting people to take action. You're talking about your topic. How do you get them to take action?
One of the things that I do, I never tell people to take action. What I do is talk about the things I want them to do through me. I say, you know what, I think about my life. For 14 years, I did not do what I'm doing. For 14 years, I used fear to stop me. For 14 years, because I don't have a college education, I kept myself on the sidelines. I was coming up with excuses of playing a small life. And then I came to a place within myself that it's possible. Everybody repeat after me, please. It's possible.
It's possible.
And so now what I'm doing is getting them to say it's possible, but more importantly, as I talked about my shortcomings, I gave them permission to reflect on themselves, and they're thinking about their shortcomings. And now I say, I convince myself that it's possible and that it's necessary. Now I'm already in their mind, and there I go to their heart, and then from there to their spirit.
Right, okay. Let's give me a high five for that. So give me a tip on interacting. Let's talk about the mind of a person who's like, they're stuck in their old story. How do you interact with them?
But one of the things that I do, and let's say, for instance, if you're talking to an audience and you want to get them in charge of the presentation, and what I mean getting them in charge of the presentation is make them a part of the presentation and engage them in it at first. What I always do is start at the top and say, I want you to think about some goals that you have. Raise your hands. And they will raise their hands. Now I got them thinking about their goals, and they're physically now engaged. Then I'll say, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you have greatness within you. Now I'm getting them to compliment the person on their right and left, and the person on their right and left will now compliment them. Guess what? You're creating a positive energy, a chemistry, where they now feel good. They're part of a production, and now they're on board with the presentation, because at the top of it I said, I want you to think about your goals and dreams, and I'm going to share with you how you can make that happen. Now there's a vested interest of them listening to you, because when people hear you, they're asking three questions. Who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? And the fact that you're going to help them to reach their goals is a reason that they care.
All right. Let me ask you one question about how you travel all over the world, you speak to so many people. How do you always get in the mindset and the energy to speak? Every time you're on stage, speakers always think about that. They're like, how am I going to get that energy every single time I get on stage?
To me, I don't believe that you were born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. I do this because it's who I am. I do this because I love it. I would speak for free. I've done it for years because I enjoy it so much. I look forward to it. I've never, ever not wanted to speak. I've decided at times I don't want to get on an airplane. And then when I look at how much they're going to pay me, I become motivated. I think I can do it. I can go one more time. But I love it so much. I had a gentleman say to me, I spoke in Nassau, Bahamas. At the end of that presentation, I received a letter from a guy that he was in the back, and he dropped his wife off. And I said, why don't you stay? And he said, okay. And so about 2 months later, I received a letter from him. And he said, you don't know me, but I dropped my wife off at your conference. I was going home and drive in our garage and take my life so that she can get the insurance from my death. And you took the time to speak to me, and you said to me, and you didn't know me, that I had something special. My father never said that to me. And when you said that and looked at me, I felt that. Thank you for who you are, Trigger Man. And that he named himself Trigger Man because he was going to shoot himself, and he mailed me the bullet. And so to me, when I read that, I cried. It's emotional for me. But I said, if I can speak and save someone's life, I'm grateful to be used like that, because I've been told I was a loser so many years. So he inspired me. And I said, every time I can speak, as long as God gives me breath, I will.
And let's just talk about inspiring for a minute. You really do inspire with your speeches. How do other speakers, how do you teach them to put that inspiration and inspire other people?
The goal that I have is get people to, one, think about what's a moment in their lives that changed their lives. I tell the story. Mr. Washington that I met, I was in special education, and I was called D.T. the dumb twin. And he said to me, young man, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And I tell that story because that was a turning point in my life. And I use that as an example of saying that all of us have critics in life, but there's never been a statue erected to a critic. And all of us have the ability to create a new life for ourselves. And I teach them to find something in their lives, something they've experienced personally, or something that they have witnessed that grabbed them, that touched them. And then I teach them how to build a speech from their values, from the things that motivate and inspire them, so that they can speak not just from their mind, but from their heart. And words that come out of the heart goes into the heart. That will make them a great speaker.
Great. Now you're well known for your laugh and for your humor. How do you bring that humor into a presentation, especially if you don't think you're funny, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that I'm funny either. People say I look funny. Well, I was listening to Earl Nightingale and Zig Ziglar and all the other speakers, and it was all just information. And I strongly believe that information could change people, that everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. And I decided that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be me. And there are things that I see that really tickle me, that I laugh at myself. I was in Hong Kong just 2 weeks ago, and I said something that I thought was going to be funny. Many audiences laughed, and they didn't laugh. And I said, whatever. And then they cracked up. And every time I saw someone later, they were speaking Mandarin, and they were pointing at me and said, whatever. But I said whatever and cracked up laughing at myself. Okay. And there are 10 different Asian countries there, and they all laugh too. Laughter is a universal message and language that says, I'm okay and you're okay. And it helps to facilitate the learning process, because when people laugh, they shut their minds down and they're open to their heart. So if people listen to my programs, I go from laughter to a quote or to a story or to passion and intensity, because I'm using it as a tool to facilitate the learning process.
All right, understood. Let's talk about legacy, right? Every speaker wants to leave a legacy. And so how is a speaker really thinking about what that legacy is going to be and then pushing that through their speech on stage?
I want it said about me. I told my kids, first of all, if they said that I have died, don't bury me for 3 days and put a microphone in the casket. If I don't grab it and say, I'm hungry, so then you can bury him now, he's gone. But I wanted on my tombstone, I told my kids, I aspire to inspire before I expire. And so I aspire to inspire people until I expire. And I want my legacy to be that I inspired people to live a bigger life. I inspired people to use their story and their voice to make the world a better place. And I was the message that I brought, that I was an example of what I spoke about.
I love it. I love it. And let's end this interview by talking about, if you had just one secret tip for speakers, one thing that you want them to keep in mind to really build their speaking career, what is that?
It's not about you. I believe that my prayer before I speak is more of thee, less of me. More of thee, less of me. If you see yourself as a vessel and you want to be an expression of love and inspiration and passion, to introduce people in the audience individually and collectively to a part of themselves that they don't know right now, but you are now the facilitator. You are now in the position of what one great person said, Mother Teresa, that now you become like a pencil in the hand of God to inspire people to write a new chapter with their lives. If you focus on being an expression of all that God wants you to be in life, and using your voice and your story and your life example, people will feel that, and they will know that, and you will build a following. There's a tribe waiting to hear your voice.
All right, Les, thank you so much.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You've given so much really great tips and information for speakers, and everybody appreciates it. So say bye. Say bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Make sure that you guys keep in touch with Les Brown on his Facebook page. Amazing tips and resources there every single day. So thanks so much, Mr. Brown. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.